This week, we talk to a woman who's been biking Chicago for 15 years and rides everywhere on her single speed. Take a listen. So, first of all, is this your bike? And can you tell me a little bit about it?
This is my bike. It's a fixation bike I got at the bike lane on Milwaukee. I had like a vintage on the road bike for many years in Chicago that I actually got from Igor of Igor Does My Bike, like in 2011 when he was just working out of his apartment. So that lasted me forever. It died on me, and I got this one. And I just love how streamlined it is, and I love how light it is, and I can just, easily pick it up. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how long have you been biking and what got you into it?
I've been biking for 15 years, so I moved to Chicago in 2010, and then I've always been a biker. I remember riding my bike to elementary school and like kindergarten, and so 15 years I've been commuting nearly every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what do you use your bike for? I mean, this is pretty streamlined, it's pretty quick. What does that look like? Is it just commuting? Is it groceries? What does that look like for you?
It's everything. I only bike, I don't go under 30 degrees because then it's like just kind of not a fun time. And active rain or snow, I tend to stay off of it. But otherwise, I bike to work. I bike to social things. I'll like put on a full face of makeup and head to where I'm going, groceries. I biked to a wedding once. Like it's literally everything I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. And with groceries, how do you handle it without like a rack or a basket or something like that? What do you do?
I have a huge backpack. And like when I'm heading to work too, I use my backpack that has like a laptop case in it. And my grocery bag is like my everything bag, anything that's like I just changed jobs. And so when I headed back, everything that was in my desk went in the backpack.
Oh, wow.
And it is like um, it's just magic. Like I always impress the people at Trader Joe's because they're like, wow, 2 cases of seltzer and a bottle of champagne. But I don't do any like long trips with the backpack, but definitely running errands, going grocery shopping, it gets the job done. And then I don't have to have anything attached here, so it keeps it nice and light.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's definitely impressive because I'm like, that's heavy. That's my immediate thought is that must be very heavy. Um, yeah, and what do you like about biking in Chicago? What makes it special for you? I mean, you've been doing it for a while.
I feel like there's always an element of adventure that comes with it. So when I'm biking, like weird things will happen or I'll notice nice things and like beautiful things. Like, I mean, this is beautiful, and just like being able to ride in an area like this to get where I'm going, it's so convenient. It's like going from point A to point B. Usually I can get there quicker on my bike. I don't have a car, but I'm a big public transportation person. But the difference to me is like the independence a bike gives you is like unmistakable. And I'm not on anyone else's time. I'm on my own time. If I'm late, it's my fault. And it's really exercise wise. Usually when I get to my location, even though I'm a little sweaty, I'm in like a good mood.
Yeah,
Endorphins help with
yeah,
that.
absolutely. And what's kind of some of the fun stuff that you've seen biking? You know, if someone isn't maybe familiar with biking around the city, they might think it's just kind of scary or like
Yeah.
you don't get to see anything fun. What does that look like? What might be something you've thought of?
I I tell this story all the time. I mean, this is cool right here. Like we're watching someone row. The city is like full of so many little things that you would never notice, I think, if you were in a car. If you're in a bike, like I see amazing graffiti and street art. I see uh, other people on bikes and kind of the gear they have, I find is interesting. I once was riding right by Second City on Wells, and I always tell this story because I just think it's hilarious. I saw this guy riding the opposite direction in the bike lane, in my bike lane, and he was holding a laptop and he was riding a skateboard and he was typing on the laptop and like literally like typing and writing and not looking at the road, not looking at anything. And I was like, wow, the confidence that you have to do that. So that's probably the craziest thing, other than like I've for sure seen accidents and stuff like that. I've unfortunately like gotten picked up on my bike before. People have tried, which has been annoying. But I feel like another thing about the difference between how you get around in the city as a woman, like when I have my bike with me, I can just like get the fuck out of somewhere. Can I curse?
Yeah, you can absolutely curse.
So there's a sense of like safety in it as well.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people talk about not feeling safe on their bike, but like I feel more safe because if I'm often out like late at night and I always want to have an exit strategy, and that is my bike.
Yeah, that makes sense. And can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that is something I hear about, is like the challenges of being a woman on a bike and like being out in space and, you know, maybe getting comments or getting, you know, stuff like that. Has that been challenging? Or can you talk a bit more about that?
Typically, I like when I get comments, a lot of times they're just positive and they're really great, and they might even be from other women or other people. But there have been times where like I had a guy ride up next to me and ask me out, and I said no, and then he just kept his bike. I mean, sorry, his car. He was riding next to me in a car with his window rolled down, like TLC's Scrubs, that song, and he just kept riding with me and trying to talk to me. And so there's something in that where it's like I can real quickly turn a street and turn a couple more streets and go down an alley that he can't follow me down because he's in a stupid car. Like there's something about that I feel like there's freedom to it. Versus if I was walking down the street, there's not as much of like a way to quickly exit.
Yeah.
And like being a woman in the city, like that's gonna happen to you. And I always feel like a little bit empowered. I always think in the back of my mind, okay, if I really get in trouble, I will throw my bike at someone. And I'm always like you'll notice the only thing I have on here is my bike lock. And I also find power in that too. Like if anything were to happen, I have this that is a weapon, not to be too dark, but it is like I do find something about like having this be an extension of me brings me power.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And I think especially, you know, being out late at night, I don't think that's dark. I think that's just like, you know, you're looking around, you're like, okay, I got to think about these things.
Yes.
So that absolutely makes sense. What do you think people who don't bike might misunderstand about biking, whether it's just like the act of biking or maybe your experience on the road?
I hear a lot like people who want to bike, but they think it will be expensive in any way. And like once you have the bike, like it is so low cost. Like I will sometimes get a flat and I go and get it changed and it's like 45 to 60 bucks depending on where you go. And that compared to having a car or taking Lyfts and Ubers, I just feel like I save so much money biking and taking public transportation, which is a bonus. And I also think people like, you know, I carry the backpack around. It is heavy. I also live on the 3rd floor and I carry her up to go to my apartment every time I ride. And it is a lot of work to do that, but I feel like it feels good to do those types of things versus being like, feel like it's an inconvenience. I always feel like it's good to like find ways to impress yourself and like hauling my bike up three flights of stairs. I'm always like, okay, I did that. And when I moved into that apartment, I was worried about doing it, and then I've done it. So I think I hear a lot that people ride and like their butt hurts, but you also get over that. It's like the little things that seem like an inconvenience very quickly fade away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. And what do you dislike about biking in Chicago? What do you feel like could be better, could be improved?
I think it's funny because I moved here in 2010, so I was biking here when it was like the Wild West, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember Belmont used to be like so crazy to bike on, and now it's streets like Ashland and Western. I wouldn't necessarily bike on those, but seeing the progress in bike lanes and things like that, I feel very grateful to like live in the city that we do. Um, and I would like to see more of that because it really makes a difference in safety and like how you feel when you're biking and confidence. Um, so more like protected lanes, which it seems like they're working on. And then I know that they're available, but I would love for there to be like classes on bikes and
Mm.
how to like fix up your bike and take care of your bike because I definitely rely on my bike shop maybe a little too much.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, especially you mentioned like the cost of fixing a flat, and I'm like, I know if you want to, you can fix it yourself. You just like,
Yes.
I know people who just buy like 20 packs of tubes.
Oh yeah, and some people bring the tubes with them
Oh.
when they're going around and like I've seen people have attachments on their bike that is a tiny repair kit.
Oh yeah.
I worked in Merchandise Mart for a while, and they also had like a small little repair area in the bike room, which was huge, and I saw people use it. So more access to more things like that. Every place I've worked in the Loop, luckily, has had a bike room, and which is I would love for that to just always be the norm. That
Yeah.
like there will be bike commuters. It's not some. As much as I say that, the offices I've worked in, I'm also usually the only person who's biking to work. And so they're like, whoa, Courtney biked today. And if more people were into doing it, I feel like some of that would be like, old hat.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think stops people from doing that? Like, what do you think kind of scares people off from biking to work or just like biking more? Because I'm like, especially
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and especially on a beautiful day like today, I'm sure it's a very enjoyable way to get into work.
Luckily, I think that the Divvy situation is making people bike a little bit more, which makes me really happy because usually when I talk to people about this, they're like, I'm scared to buy a bike. It's a big investment, but I love Divvy and I love riding Divvy, and I find that the kind of the nice like drinking the Kool-Aid moment for people is explaining how much easier it is to get to the lake. Like the lake is like so beautiful. I go to Montrose Harbor a lot. But getting there via bike versus driving, parking, whatever, Uber, God forbid, is so much easier on bike. And when I start to explain that to my friends who maybe meet me out there, then they're like, I think I'll try that next time. And that seems like a good, first step for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I think those are all of the questions I have. Is there anything else that you want to tell the people or say about your bike or your biking experience?
I'm also just a big proponent of a light bike. Like my vintage bike I got from Igor was beautiful and it was all red, and it was obviously I love like a red bike, but it was so heavy, and taking it to work every day and going upstairs, I like it nearly like made me be like, I don't know if this lifestyle is for me. But this bike I can lift over my head, and it is just like, it's really changed the game for me. It's a fixie, and in Chicago, you don't really need a ton of gears unless you're, doing some long haul travel. So, also I would say just like the different trails, like the North Branch Trail all the way to the Botanical Gardens. I love that. There are so many, I think people are in the city and they feel like commuting with all the cars is a lot, but there's a way to just take trails and to just be around nature and trees, which is a wonderful way to explore like our state.
Yeah.
So, big fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching that interview. Subscribe to see more conversations with Chicagoans biking around their city, dropping every other week.